Howard Schultz was born on July 19, 1953, in Brooklyn, New York, into a working-class Jewish family. His childhood was tied to Canarsie, a cramped and impoverished public housing project. His family constantly struggled with financial burdens. His father, Fred Schultz, was a hard-working man without a degree who took on various blue-collar jobs, from truck driver and factory worker to taxi driver, to provide for his family. The turning point that shaped Schultz's future leadership mindset occurred when he was just 7 years old. One day, upon returning from work, he found his father lying on the couch with a cast stretching from his hip to his ankle. His father, who was working as a diaper delivery man at the time, had slipped on a patch of ice and shattered his ankle. In the context of 1960s America, a blue-collar worker suffering a workplace injury meant immediate termination. The Schultz family had no health insurance, no workers' compensation, and no savings. The image of his helpless, suffering father and the despair that engulfed their small family left a deep scar on young Howard's soul. That event was not just a sad memory, but a profound lesson. Schultz once shared that the image of his father being abandoned by the corporate system motivated him to build a completely different kind of company, a company that offered respect, dignity, and safety to its workers, things his father never had. Growing up in the complex environment of Canarsie, Schultz realized that education was the only way out of poverty. He found his escape through sports, particularly football, basketball, and baseball. Thanks to his athletic talent, Schultz earned a sports scholarship to attend Northern Michigan University. He was the first in his family to step foot on a college campus. However, his athletic career did not last long. He realized he was not exceptional enough to become a professional athlete. In 1975, he graduated with a bachelor's degree in communications, officially entering the world with a burning desire to change his destiny. After graduating, Schultz returned to New York and landed his first job in sales at Xerox Corporation. There, he received rigorous training in sales skills, the art of persuasion, and customer communication. He learned to knock on office doors, face rejection, and persistently persuade buyers. Although he earned a decent salary and was able to help his parents, Schultz did not feel fulfilled by Xerox's rigid corporate environment. He decided to transition to Hammarplast, a Swedish company manufacturing housewares and coffee makers. Thanks to his sharp intuition and excellent skills, he quickly rose to the position of general manager of U.S. operations. It seemed as though the slum boy's American dream had come true at the age of 21, but a chance event completely changed the trajectory of his life. In 1981, while reviewing Hammarplast's sales reports, Schultz noticed something peculiar. A small company named Starbucks Coffee, Tea, and Spice in Seattle, Washington, was ordering more coffee makers than the giant department store chain Macy's. Curiosity drove him to fly to the West Coast to investigate firsthand. Stepping into the Starbucks store at Seattle's Pike Place Market, Schultz was overwhelmed. At the time, Starbucks did not sell brewed coffee, it only sold whole bean roasted coffee and brewing equipment. The air was filled with the captivating aroma of dark roasted coffee beans, a completely different type of coffee compared to the bland liquid most Americans were drinking in the 1980s. He met the founders of Starbucks, Jerry Baldwin, Gordon Boker, and Zev Siegel. They were true coffee enthusiasts who considered roasting coffee beans an art form. Schultz was immediately drawn to their love and dedication to the product. He felt an intense connection and knew his future lay there. It took a full year of persistent persuasion before the founders finally agreed to hire Schultz in 1982 as the director of retail operations and marketing. He packed his bags, leaving behind a high salary in New York to move to Seattle with a fierce belief in the potential of the coffee bean. In 1983, Starbucks sent Schultz to Milan, Italy to attend an international housewares exhibition. This trip was not just a business visit, it became an epiphany that changed the history of the food and beverage industry. Walking the streets of Milan, Schultz was amazed by the Italian espresso bar culture. He saw baristas who remembered each customer's name, with people standing around chatting enthusiastically about politics, sports, and life. The coffee shop was not just a place selling beverages, it was the heart of the community, a connection between human beings. Schultz suddenly realized that what Starbucks lacked was not better coffee beans, but an experience. Americans needed a third place, a peaceful haven nestled between home and work. Brimming with excitement, Schultz returned to Seattle and pitched the idea of opening coffeehouses serving brewed beverages to the founders, but he met fierce opposition. The difference in vision made Schultz feel stifled. Despite having a stable job, he decided to leave Starbucks in 1985 to pursue his Italian dream on his own. He founded his own coffee company. Schultz's entrepreneurial journey was extremely arduous. He needed $1.7 million to get started. Throughout the fundraising process, Schultz approached 242 investors and received 217 rejections. Eventually, the company was born and quickly achieved initial success, proving that Americans truly craved a connective coffee experience. In 1987, the biggest turning point in Schultz's career emerged. The founders of Starbucks decided to sell the company's retail business. Without hesitation, Schultz acquired the entire Starbucks brand for $3.8 million. Under the helm of the new CEO, Starbucks began an expansion journey at a breakneck pace. From 6 stores in Seattle, the company expanded to Chicago, Vancouver, and gradually covered North America. In 1992, Starbucks officially launched its initial public offering and achieved phenomenal growth, transforming coffee from a basic consumer good into an affordable luxury. The core of Starbucks's success lay in Howard Schultz's human resources philosophy. Haunted by his father's hardships years ago, Schultz resolved to make Starbucks the kind of company his father never had the chance to work for. In 1988, Starbucks became one of the first private companies in the United States to offer comprehensive health insurance for even part-time employees. This was a shocking decision to Wall Street financiers at the time, as it significantly increased operational costs. However, Schultz resolutely defended this policy, arguing that employees who are well taken care of will take good care of your customers. In 1991, he introduced the Beanstalk program, turning every employee into a company shareholder through stock options. This initiative generated incredible loyalty, transforming tens of thousands of baristas into genuine co-owners of the brand they dedicated themselves to every day. In 2000, Howard Schultz decided to step back, resigning as CEO to transition into the role of chairman and global strategist, focusing on international market expansion. Under the management of succeeding CEOs, Starbucks continued its aggressive growth, but along with the rapid expansion came the seeds of decline. To keep up with the expansion pace and optimize profits, Starbucks began using automatic espresso machines instead of manual ones, replacing freshly roasted coffee with pre-packaged coffee and selling everything from stuffed animals to CDs. In early 2008, when the global financial crisis struck, Starbucks revenues plummeted disastrously. Its stock took a nosedive. Facing a critical situation, Howard Schultz was forced to return to the CEO seat to save his brainchild. One of the boldest decisions in business history was made by Schultz in February 2008. He ordered the closure of over 7,100 Starbucks stores across the United States for 3.5 hours to retrain all baristas in the art of pouring a perfect espresso. This decision cost the company millions of dollars in revenue that day and drew mockery from the media, but it sent a powerful message: quality is more important than blind growth. He cut unrelated products, restored traditional espresso machines, implemented digital technology, and closed hundreds of underperforming stores. Through his decisiveness and commitment to core values, Schultz steered Starbucks away from the abyss and led the company into an era of unprecedented record profits in its history. In April 2017, Howard Schultz once again handed over the CEO position to Kevin Johnson, trusting that the company had a solid foundation in both technology and culture. He retained the title of Chairman Emeritus and began shifting his attention to social and political issues. Looking back at Howard Schultz's life, the greatest legacy he leaves behind is not just a chain of 36,000 coffee shops in over 80 countries. His true legacy is shaping a business model known as conscious capitalism. Schultz proved to the world that a business can strike a perfect balance between profitability and empathy. He showed that treating workers humanely, contributing to the community, and protecting social values are not obstacles to profit, but the very engines that drive sustainable profitability. The story of the billionaire who rose from a tiny, run-down apartment in Brooklyn, overcoming the haunting memory of his abandoned father to build a coffee empire that respects human dignity, will always remain a classic chapter taught in business schools and an endless source of inspiration for those who carry the aspiration to change the world.